First on Fox 4 News at 5:30 tonight, when admitted Fort Hood shooter Major Nidal Hasan said the defense rests this morning without calling a single witness. Nobody was really that surprised, but for some reason it appears prosecutors were, and they were not ready to make their closing arguments. Fox 4's Calvert Collins is in Fort Hood and was in the courtroom for today's developments. Calvert, tell us about it.
Well, Steve, the prosecutors didn't exactly tell the courtroom why they needed more time, but we can tell you that did not make the judge very happy. She wanted to expedite this afternoon, hoping to get to closing arguments. But Major Hasan chose not to call either of the two men on his witness list, so he may lay out more of his case tomorrow in those closing arguments.
Hasan has really not tried to put on a defense throughout this entire court-martial.
At 9:01 a.m., Judge Colonel Tara Osborne walked into the courtroom. She asked Major Nidal Hasan how he wanted to proceed, and at 9:05, he said the defense rests. Judge Osborne told Hasan, "You have the absolute right to remain silent. You did not testify. Was that your decision?" Hasan immediately replied, "Yes." His consistently short answers lead journalists and observers to believe Hasan will keep his closing arguments brief as well.
So I would imagine it would probably be similar to the opening statement, where he gave a very kind of quick, 1 to 2 minute statement.
Hasan is formally charged with 13 counts of premeditated murder and 32 counts of attempted premeditated murder. But there are hundreds of lesser offenses he could be convicted of. Judge Osborne asked the government about adding another lesser offense, voluntary manslaughter, to Hasan's charges. But prosecutors believed it's unnecessary. Colonel Steve Hendricks said Hasan acted in the heat of sudden passion, and that passion seemed to equate to a motive that had been building for some time.
And there's a lot of outcry over that. Why didn't we hear this motive evidence? But, prosecutors honestly didn't need it to prove their case.
Now, Hasan's lack of participation in the trial has created more speculation that he's going to wait to really explain himself and his motives during sentencing because, Steve, he can't be cross-examined by prosecutors then. Right. Now, to face the death penalty, the jury will have to unanimously convict him of at least one count of premeditated murder plus another serious crime like attempted murder.
All right, so you mentioned you think his close will be fairly short since he doesn't really talk much in the courtroom. Let's talk about the deliberations. It seems like with no real defense put on it, it seemed to be a slam dunk, but I guess even a slam dunk takes some time to move through, correct?
Well, that's right. And we're talking about 13 high-ranking Army officers, so they're not going to speed through this. Plus, there are 45 counts that have to be looked at and voted on individually, so that's going to take some time to go through all of those. And there are 700 pieces of evidence, almost all from the prosecution and only one from the defense, and that was Major Hasan's officer evaluation report, in which his superior officer gave him an outstanding review just weeks before the shooting. So lots of things to consider tomorrow.
Okay, Calvert Collins, thank you.